Hello, in this demo I am going to demonstrate what a class is, public and private members, and methods. I'll just go for file. I'll start a new project, name it as console application. I'll say class example 1. Okay, so here I have a program structure. My project got started and I need to create a class, or I can say that I need to define a class. So a class is nothing but it is a blueprint of an object. So I'll just move above the class as we have defined structure. In the same way I'll define the class. Class name customer, and in this class I'll have few fields like int account number ACNO, string name, and double balance. Say this is the customer of a bank. A customer of bank may have various fields. So for our demonstration I am selecting 3 fields. One is account number, another is name, and one more is balance. So as per the rules I should have all the fields of my class private. To make all the fields of my class private, I need to declare them with the help of private keyword. I can do in this way, or by default the members of the class are private. If I do not write anything, if I do not write any access specifier, so we call this as access specifier. If I do not use any access specifier, by default the fields of the class are private. Fine. Now in this class I need to declare few methods. So methods are nothing but behaviors. So whenever a new customer comes to the bank, or new customer wants to create an account, so I need to assign account number, name, and balance to that particular customer. So whenever a new customer comes to the bank for creation of the account, so I need to initialize their account number, name, and balance. So for that let me write a behavior. A behavior is nothing but a method. So as per the rules, whenever we are designing the classes, behaviors must be public. So I'll make a public method. Now I'm writing void. I'll use void public void create customer. So whenever I'm creating a customer, I need to pass 3 parameters. What are those? One is account number. I'll say int A. A is nothing but account number. Another is name. Name will be string N. And one more will be double, that is balance, double B. Now the value of A, I will be assigning it to account number. ACNO equals to A. Name equals to N. Balance equals to B. So the value of A will be stored in account number, value of N will be stored in name, value of B will be stored in balance. If you observe, I am writing void. Okay, public, because I want to make the behavior as public, so I am declaring it as public, so that any object can access this behavior or this method. Now why is that I am writing void? I am writing void because my method is not returning any value. It is not returning any value, so I am writing void. Whereas it is taking 3 values, so we call them as parameters. So it is taking 3 parameters. One is nothing but account number, another is name, one more is balance. So this is the method which we use to create the object. Now if I want to display the details of that particular customer, or I can say balance inquiry, so I'll say public void balance inquiry bal enq. So in this I am neither passing any parameter, and so this is empty and it is not going to return anything. Just I want to display account number, name and balance. So I can use console.writeLine. I'll write CW and I'll press tab twice. This will give me console.writeLine code snippet. Quotation I'll use, and I'll write account number, name 1, balance 2. So in 0th position I want to display account number, and in first position I want to display name, and in the second position I would like to display balance. That's it. This is my simple class with creation of the customer and displaying the balance inquiry, and here I am not at all performing any kind of operations like amount withdraw and deposit and XYZ. I am not at all performing any operations. Now this is the blueprint of a customer. So any customer of the bank, whether it is Tom, Jack, Peter or anyone, any customer will have all these things. They'll have account number, they'll have name, balance, their account gets created, they can go for balance inquiry and all these things. Now I need to create the object. So we call, in our structures we are calling creating the variable of structure, whereas here I will say create the object of this class, particular class. How do I create the object? I will say customer C, and C equals to new customer. As if you remember the syntax of creating arrays, we were using the similar syntax. So in the same way, to create an object I am using the syntax similar to arrays. So here it is not an array but it is an object. I call it as object of customers class. C is the object of class customer. So this is the way I can create the object, and I have another way, alternate way. I can say customer C equals to new customer. I think this is the easiest way of creating the object. Now let me delete this. So this is how I can create the object. Now once the object is created, now if I say object dot, dot is nothing but the period operator. I want to access the members of the class, so I can use period operator or dot operator, C dot. Now if you observe, you will not find fields in this. In IntelliSense it shows balance inquiry and create customer. It does not show the fields. Now if I say public int account number and I'll say C dot, it shows the field. So as per the rules of a class, object should not have access to the fields directly. So that's why I am making the fields as private. So as you might have observed in structures, we were declaring all the fields of the structures as public so that I should access them. So this is my class, so I need to create the customer. C dot create customer, I'll open the bracket. I need to pass 3 parameters. Now these 3 parameters, first must be an integer, second must be a string, third must be double. So I can accept 3 values from the keyboard and I can pass from here, or for our example I am passing the value directly. I'll say 1 2 3 4 is integer, and the string name say Jack, and the balance is 78,000. That's it. With this line of code I am creating the customer. Now I want to display the details. To display the details I will say C dot balance inquiry. That's it. Console.readline. I'll simply press F5. It should display me 1 2 3 4 jack and 78,000. So this is a simple class. Fine. Now if we observe this very carefully, it has got two bugs, or you can say two ambiguities in my program. Now what are those two ambiguities? So I am making fields as private so that my object should not access them directly. My intention behind not giving the access is that they should not change the fields. Once the object gets created, can we change the account number? If C is the object, so if I go to the bank and they have created my account, can I update the account number? No. The end user will not have direct access to update the account number. If at all they want to update the name, they will not have direct access. One customer cannot have two account numbers of same account. So that is the main intention behind keeping all my states as or fields as private. So the ambiguity here is C dot create customer is creating the customer with this balance. Now if I say C dot create customer again, is my application going to stop me from doing so? No. C is the same customer, it is not a new customer, it is the same customer. With the same customer I am giving another account number, name as Jack, and say balance is 80,000. Or if I keep the account number as same 1 2 3 4, that means I am accessing the balance directly. Now if I go for balance inquiry, it should show me a new balance that is being edited by the earlier method. So account number, name is same, and balance got updated without any deposits. So this is one ambiguity in this. What is it? I can reinitialize the object. This is what I say, that I am initializing the object. Create customer is nothing but initialization of object. I can reinitialize the object again and again. Whenever I want, I can reinitialize it. First drawback. Another drawback is that whenever I am creating the customer, I need to call this method explicitly. That means I need to call create customer explicitly. So I can have n number of customers that I need to create. So I need to call create customer method for n number of times. I need to call create customer method for n number of times. So here we have two ambiguities. Ambiguity one is that I can reinitialize the object. Another is, to initialize the object I need to call the method explicitly. One is I can reinitialize the object. Another is I need to call the method create customer explicitly whenever I want to create the customer. So what is the solution for this? Let me comment out this part. Fine. So I am creating the object. In my class I will write a special method. In my class I am writing a special method, public. What is the speciality of the method? The speciality of the method is that it has the same name as class name. Customer is a method with same name as class name. This is one speciality. And another speciality is it does not have any return type. If you observe, I'm neither writing void nor int or anything. It does not have any return type. What about parameters? It may or it may not have parameters. So as of now I'm taking a special method with same name as class name with no return type, and it may or may not have parameters, and it is public in most cases. In most cases it is public. So this is my special method. So how does my special method looks like? It has 4 points to say. One is special method which is declared with public keyword. It does not have any return type, and the more important point is its name is same as class name, and the last point is it may or may not have parameters. So these are the 4 points which describes about how my special method looks like. So I'll display a message in this special method. If you observe, I have just defined the special method. I haven't done anything else. Means I haven't invoked or I haven't called that method. I am not calling the method, special method. I have just defined the method. Now let me execute this. I'll just press F5. So it is displaying hello world. Means what? Now let me put a breakpoint here. My program execution starts from main, right? Put a breakpoint. I'll just press F5, F11. So what is that I'm doing here? I'm trying to create the object. What is that I'm doing? I'm creating the object. Now whenever I'm trying to create the object, this special method is invoked automatically. See that? Am I calling the method c dot something? No, it is invoked automatically. I haven't asked my program to invoke that method, but it is invoked automatically. So this special method is invoked automatically whenever I create the object. So this is the functionality behavior of this special method. Now I'll show you one more functionality behavior of this special method. Now I want to invoke that method explicitly. I'll say c dot. Do I have customer available here? Even though it is public, this customer method I cannot invoke it explicitly. Throw an error. What is it? Cannot invoke explicitly. I cannot invoke it explicitly. So there are 6 points that I need to remember about this special method. What are those? A special method with public as access specifier and no return type, same name as class name, may or may not have parameters, and which is invoked automatically whenever I create the object, and I cannot invoke that method explicitly. Such kind of special method with these 6 features in it is called as constructor. So this is nothing but is your constructor. Hope you might have heard about this term constructor. So constructor is nothing but it is a special method with public as access specifier and no return type, same name as class name, may or may not have parameters, and is invoked automatically whenever I create the object, and I cannot invoke it explicitly. So this is called as constructor. Hope you might have understood what a constructor is. Now this is what a constructor is. Now my next question is, what is its use? What is the use of constructor? Now I have seen 2 functional features. One is it is invoked automatically, another is I cannot invoke it explicitly. So in our earlier program we were facing 2 ambiguities. One is I need to call create customer explicitly whenever I create the object. So that problem can be solved with this feature of constructor. It is invoked automatically whenever the object is created. The next point is I can reinitialize the object by calling the method again and again. That problem is solved with this feature of constructor, that I cannot invoke the constructor explicitly. So it is invoked automatically, and that is only once. So this feature I will use. So now instead of writing a constructor with no parameters, which is called as a default constructor. I'll do one thing, I'll put this default constructor as it is. I'll just copy this. I'll have one more constructor, public, with no return type and name, same name as class name, but this time I'll have 3 parameters. So now you can see that I have 2 constructors, one is customer, another is also a customer, one is with no parameter, another is with 3 parameters. So whenever I have 2 constructors, definitely with different parameters, this concept I call it as constructor overloading. I call it as constructor overloading. Whenever I have multiple constructors, definitely with different parameters, this concept is called as constructor overloading. Now the question is, whenever I create the object, which constructor is invoked automatically? Definitely default constructor. Why? Because I am not passing any parameter while creating the object. So while creating the object, I am not passing anything. So I need to pass parameters whenever I create the object. Now what I'll do is, I'll just start a bracket. Here it says 1 of 2. It says that there are 2 constructors. What constructor you want to use? I'll be using the second one. That is, I need to pass the parameter. I'll say 1 2 3 4 jack. Balance is 7,000, 78,000. Now I'll just have the balance inquiry. This is going to automatically invoke this customer constructor. I'll put a breakpoint. Okay, anyway I do not have any more use of this. I'll just comment it out. I'll execute this. So I'm creating the object, constructor is invoked automatically. F11. So my control should jump to customer constructor with 3 parameters, and it takes all the 3 values A, N and B. Now I'll just press F11. A value will be assigned to account number, name, balance inquiry. Again it comes back. I'll say, so this is all about your constructor. Fine. So a constructor is nothing but it is a special method with no return type, public access specifier, name, same name as class name, and it may or may not have parameters, and it is invoked automatically whenever I create the object, and I cannot call a constructor explicitly. What is the use of constructor? Use of constructor is to initialize the object. I am initializing the object here. Now let me write 2 more behaviors in this, so that we should have some meaningful class. I'll write a public void deposit. So I have a method called as deposit. So whenever I'm calling a method deposit, I need to pass some amount, right? So I'll say double AMT. So what happens whenever I call a deposit method? My balance gets incremented. My old balance will be, now my new balance will be old balance plus this amount. So this is nothing but your deposit method. Save this. After displaying the balance, I'll call deposit method, and here I'll pass 3,000 rupees. I want to deposit 3,000. Now I'll say c dot balance inquiry. $3,000 got deposited. In the same way, if I want to create a withdraw method, I'll just copy deposit. I'll say paste public void withdraw. Now here in the same way I need to pass some amount. Instead of adding, I need to subtract that amount. Save this. After depositing 3000, I am displaying the message. Now I will withdraw some 5000 rupees. 5000. Now I will say C dot balance inquiry. This is what a constructor can do